The world has just witnessed a historic turning point. Quiet, yet deeply consequential. A brand that once filled American roads for generations has now left the country. Subaru, the symbol of Japanese reliability, has halted production for Canada in its U.S. factories. The reason? Tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. What was meant to bring jobs home is now driving manufacturers away, faster than ever. This isn't just an economic story. It's the story of a global shift, a new industrial order, and it begins with one man, Mark Carney. Welcome to the Macrosphere, where we decode the forces reshaping the global economy.
When the Trump administration imposed a 25% tariff on imported cars and metals, the goal was simple: bring manufacturing back to America. But the reality was starkly different. Subaru became the first major automaker to stop producing for the Canadian market at its U.S. plants, moving all assembly lines back to Japan. Rising steel and aluminum prices made it cheaper to build cars abroad than at home. Factories in Indiana that once assembled the Subaru Outback for Canada now stand still, their workers uncertain of tomorrow. Economists call it reverse globalization. What was meant to rebuild America's industrial power has instead dismantled it. While Washington waged trade wars, Ottawa wrote a new playbook, one grounded not in slogans or tariffs, but in strategy. As American politics descended into noise and confrontation, Canada chose silence and precision. Behind closed doors, a small circle within Mark Carney's government began building quiet alliances with Japan, Malaysia, and China. There were no cameras, no press releases, only negotiations, built on trust, not tension. Carney understood something simple, yet revolutionary. In a chaotic world, stability itself becomes a weapon of influence. While others threatened to bring jobs home, Canada created an environment where companies wanted to come. No tariff walls, no unpredictable midnight policies, just clarity, predictability, and a government that kept its word. Ottawa didn't lure automakers with billion-dollar handouts or political promises. It offered something far more valuable: consistency. Businesses didn't have to guess what the next week's policy might bring. They could plan years ahead. In today's volatile global market, that kind of certainty is worth more than gold. The results came quickly. Toyota's sales in Canada surged nearly 30% in a single quarter. Japan's automakers, once anchored to the U.S. market, began diverting investments northward. Even China's electric vehicle giant BYD started eyeing Quebec and British Columbia as future manufacturing and distribution hubs. Carney's message to the world was quiet but unmistakable. Canada is open for business, and it's open for good. While Washington raised barriers, Ottawa built bridges. Each new partnership proved that diplomacy grounded in calm reliability could outmatch the loudest protectionist rhetoric. This wasn't merely an economic adjustment. It was a transformation in mindset, from reaction to readiness, from confrontation to cooperation. And as factories, investors, and innovators now shift northward, one truth stands clear. In the age of uncertainty, the loudest voice no longer leads. The most trusted one does. At the ASEAN Summit in Kuala Lumpur, Carney delivered a speech that would quietly redefine global trade. Calm, steady, deliberate, he said. We'll talk to the United States when they're ready. But we won't wait. Within hours, Canada signed historic new trade agreements with Japan, Malaysia, and China. Not slogans, signatures. Not rallies, results. The Carney Doctrine was born. In an unpredictable world, stability is the ultimate power. And through it, Canada emerged not as a follower, but as the new anchor of global trust.
The effects were immediate. Japanese automakers rerouted their shipments north. Cars that once passed through Los Angeles now flow through Vancouver. Electric vehicle giants like BYD and Toyota are investing in Ontario and Quebec. Canada is no longer a buyer. It's a gateway. While U.S. plants close their doors, Canadian ports are booming. Economists call this phenomenon the Great Reversal. America's industrial heart is slowing, while Canada's beats stronger than ever. The world has drawn its conclusion. From Tokyo to Berlin, from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, nations are quietly recalibrating their compass, and the needle now points north. Japan, Malaysia, China, and even Europe are no longer looking to Washington for direction. They're studying Canada's new trade model, a framework built not on slogans, but on structure, not on muscle, but on trust. Economists have begun calling this quiet transformation the Carney effect, the shift from power through dominance to power through dependability. While Washington isolates itself behind tariff walls and rhetoric, Ottawa has taken the opposite path. It builds bridges, deliberate, durable, and data-driven. Every treaty signed under Mark Carney's leadership isn't a reaction, it's a roadmap. Each one expands a network of partners who value predictability over politics and collaboration over confrontation. In boardrooms across the world, the question has changed. No longer who has the biggest market, but who can we actually rely on? The answer echoes through every investment report and diplomatic corridor. Canada. Because in an age defined by volatility, stability has become the rarest commodity. Trust is now the world's reserve currency. And Canada, under Carney's steady hand, is printing it in abundance. This is more than an economic shift. It's a redefinition of leadership itself. As new agreements reshape global supply lines, one truth grows clearer with every signature and handshake. The world no longer follows the loudest voice. It follows the one it trusts most. And in this new era of quiet power, that voice speaks from Ottawa. Subaru's exit was never just a corporate move. It was a verdict, a judgment on what kind of leadership the world now values: quiet strength over loud promises, patience over politics, and trust over turmoil. Mark Carney didn't compete for attention. He built credibility. While others shouted about restoring greatness, he focused on restoring confidence. No grand speeches, no slogans, just results. As tariffs fractured global trade, Canada became the calm in the storm, the one place where businesses could plan, invest, and grow without fear of sudden reversals. Factories, ports, and partnerships began to shift north, redrawing the industrial map of the continent. Every new trade corridor now traces its path through Canada, each shipment a symbol of something larger. That reliability is the new currency of power. Because the future isn't built on tariffs, fear, or walls. It's built on trust, stability, and vision. And today, that vision belongs to Canada. The era of uncertainty has a new counterbalance: the Carney Era. You've been watching the Macrosphere, where economics meets geopolitics, and every story reveals the deeper shift shaping our world. If you found this analysis insightful, like, share, and subscribe.